Hey guys, Sober Oni of G&A Reviews here with a special servant spotlight for Orion. I know I gave you guys two earlier this morning actually, but here we are again, this one for Orion, and it's in preparation for the Moon Goddess event tomorrow. I wanted to let you guys know if he's worth rolling. I want to get this out as soon as possible for you guys so that you guys aren't totally going in blind. And in that respect, I also have an event guide that just recently went up a few hours ago, so please do check that out if you're not up to date on what the event is going to be like. I kind of go into a little bit of detail on what to expect from there, so definitely check that out. I'll link to that in the description below. And for now, let's just take a look at the event servant Orion. So Orion's a 5-star archer, and his stats are very polarizing. He has the highest max HP among all 5-star archers in the game at 14,553, but the lowest attack at 11,107, and that does include all the servants who haven't been released yet, so very polarizing stats there. And as far as skills go, Orion's skills include Affection of the Goddess, rank X, which increases defense for one turn between 30 to 50%, increases attack by 20% for 3 turns, and increases debuff resist for 3 turns by 50%. His second skill is Whimsical Bond, rank A+, which increases damage against melee units for 1 turn between 50 to 100%. And finally, he has Mind's Eye False, rank B-, which applies Evade for 1 turn and increases critical hit damage for 3 turns between 17 to 34%. For passives, Orion has Magic Resistance D to increase debuff resist by 12.5%, and Independent Action A+, to increase critical hit damage by 11%. Moving on to his deck and Noble Phantasm, he has a Quick Arts Buster deck and an Arts Noble Phantasm Tri-Star Amore Mio. It deals significant damage to a single enemy, it decreases their attack for 3 turns by 20%, and it has a chance to decrease Noble Phantasm charge. The chance fluctuates between 60 to 100% depending on overcharge. There is an interlude that further increases the damage modifier on the Noble Phantasm. It guarantees the decreased Noble Phantasm charge, and it also adds a decreased critical hit rate effect for 3 turns between 20 to 60%. So with that mouthful out of the way, how good is Orion? So Orion is pretty difficult to analyze. Let's first go over the many problems he has. First of all, as I've mentioned in other spotlights, HP is just not as valuable as attack is the later you get into the game. So having the lowest attack among 5-star archers and the highest HP is not really a positive thing. Second of all, his first skill, Affection of the Goddess, is not as good as it looks on paper because the defense buff only lasts for a single turn, and while the attack buff does last for 3 turns, it doesn't scale with the skill. So it's always going to be 20%, which isn't bad, but it's not really great either. And finally, he only has 1 buster to further accentuate how little damage output he has. So if you're looking for a high damaging archer, this is not Gilgamesh. But that's not to say he's bad either. In fact, Orion plays a very specific role, and he plays it well. He's pretty much the designated male killer. His second skill actually at max rank gives him a 100% damage increase against males. So I don't think I need to tell you this, but there are a lot of males in the game. So he has a 100% damage bonus against close to half the servants in the game. Not to mention the generic male enemies that are just popping up in the story mode and events. So obviously this bonus is most useful against male sabers, of which there are a surprising amount, and they often play the role of bosses during challenge quests and events and story missions. So the bonus is actually a lot more useful than you would first think. But what takes it to the next level is once you consider that he also deals that extra class damage to berserkers, and most berserkers are male. In fact, the strongest berserkers are usually male. Think of Hercules, think of Lancelot, think of Vlad. So 100% attack bonus is astronomical, especially when used against Berserkers and Sabers. So it's pretty clear what Orion's purpose is. He just absolutely nukes male servants. So if you ever have to fight a male Berserker or Saber, hardly anyone will do a better job of killing them than Orion. And for that reason, you're really going to want to max Whimsical Bond first, followed by Mind's Eye, and then Affection of the Goddess. Reason being, the attack buff on Affection of the Goddess doesn't scale, as we mentioned, and Mind's Eye has scaling crit damage, and Orion can function as a pretty strong crit damage dealer, so it also helps to have an evade on lower cooldown as well. And clearly you can tell from the deck that Arts teams are the way to go with Orion, so you're going to want to pair him with Waver, Hans, Martha, Medea, and Tamamo once she comes out. They're all really strong with Orion, but on top of being strong on an Arts team, she can also be the pretty strong damage dealer in a crit team thanks to independent action and Mind's Eye, which when combined give him an extra 45% crit damage. Though I will say this is a much more risky route since you'll be using your only evade skill offensively instead of defensively, so you're going to have to want to really be careful when you activate your dodge. But if you do want to go that route, Gil, Atlanta, and Hassan of the Cursed Arm are the best crit generators in the game for Orion right now. And your options for Craft Essence are pretty open as well. Personally, I prefer Formal Craft as its 3-star and 4-star variants because it provides just a little bit of extra Noble Phantasm damage, and it also helps you charge your Noble Phantasm by boosting performance on your Arts cards. But Heaven's Feel and the other Noble Phantasm damage boost Craft Essences are equally as viable if you want an even stronger Noble Phantasm nuke. It's not like Orion is fragile, so he can definitely take a few hits to help him charge his Noble Phantasm, though it will be much slower as opposed to using Formal Craft. And of course, if you want to go that crit route, then you're going to want to use Gem Magecraft to further increase crit damage. Overall, like I said, it's difficult to get a handle on how to grade Orion because he's so situational and so niche. His skills aren't bad, and if you're going to use him against a male Saber or Berserker, he's just going to tear them to shreds and perform phenomenally better than any other Servant, or at least any other Archer. And this game loves to make bosses out of male Sabers and male Berserkers, especially in Challenge Quest and events. But on the other hand, outside of those very specific instances, he's very mediocre as an Arts Archer and doesn't have much else to offer. In fact, there's a 3-star Arts Archer coming down the pipeline who I would argue is more bang for the buck. Not necessarily better, but easier to get and does the same job. If Orion is the only 5-star Archer you end up getting, it's not a bad thing. He's more than capable of being the lead damage dealer on a crit team or really providing damage on an Arts team. And you'll be thanking the gods of luck for him during a certain specific bullshit story chapter that shall go unnamed. But there are better archers out there, especially when you consider that Gil is a thing that exists in the game right now. And that's why Orion gets a B-. He's extremely strong in certain, albeit fairly common situations, and lackluster everywhere else. The only reason I'm not giving him a C is because he does have a little bit of potential in a crit team, and that can really turn it around a lot of the time. So at least that's some versatility. Anywho, those are my thoughts on Orion, so let me know if you agree and if you plan on rolling for him. And before I get all the comments that I know are coming, I know I referred to Orion as a male for this entire spotlight. There's a reason for that. I'll let you guys guess what that reason is. I'm sure plenty of you know already, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Personally, I'm going to be holding all my quartz for my lovely, beautiful Tamamo and Okeanos once that comes out, but if you are rolling for Orion, the best of luck to you, and please also check out my guide on the upcoming Moon Goddess event. That link will be in the description below, as well as a link to the playlist of all my other servant spotlights. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and this is Sober Oni signing out. Peace.